What's up, people? What's up, people? It's your favorite icon in the building. Yes, it's going down. Yep. Like this, I'm icon, O-N-B-O-S-S-S. I'm S-U-N in the game, that. You already know I got a bag with a tit. Yeah, if you ain't understand what I'm saying, open up your mind and get into the lyrics. Yeah, explosion for all your faith, yeah, all your pussy hold that faith, yeah. Come on. Represent that C-O-G. Nigga, yeah, put it in your clip and pop off. You already know when you're talking to the boss. Let's go. Cooler. Nah, I ain't improving no nothing, dog. I'm ready to go all out. Yeah. In a few more minutes, you're gonna look at me and say, God, class, why you do this to us? Got that flame from that brother. He getting better and better. Don't shut up. Yeah. Sometimes if he do, he know it freestyle. Yeah. He can do it any goddamn way. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I told you this before. It can rhyme and it cannot. I don't really give a snit. You already know that shit. Sneeze on it. Ooh, that's that good shit. So you can breathe on it. Yeah. Put your best in, bet with the best of them. Any way you wanna bring the rest of them. Put them all in a row and just duck. All of them fucked up, yeah. I'm from Fort Pierce, Florida, yeah, believe that deal. I'm off the one trade park, man, believe that deal. Edgewater all day, yeah, believe that deal. Fort Pierce, yeah, believe that deal. I'm in the city of Jacksonville. They the realest up here. Let's go one time, man. It's your favorite icon in the building. Over here in these YouTube streets. What's up, everybody? Oh man, you know what I'm saying? How do we get some things going here when you want to get some things going here? You know, I want to get some things going here. Yep. But anyway, I'm here chilling in the place to be. Thought I'd come through and touch these YouTube streets up, man, with a little something. I am the Icon 6. And I am here to talk about Icon. What you gonna talk about? I don't listen, man. If you're gonna talk, is you crazy? Is you mentally insane? I might be a little bit all that stuff, but listen. Let me tell you a little bit about myself before we get into any conversation. I did. I'm what you would call an ex-con, an ex-felon. I served 28 years, 1 month and 2 weeks in federal prison for conspiracy to commit bank robbery, and where I went to trial and lost that trial and received a 34-year sentence, along with other co-defendants. I want to say shout out to my cousin Tracy, who is still serving time on that particular case. They want him to bring 40 years to the door. 40 years. I mean, a straight 40 years, no cuts, no breaks, no get outs, no none of that. I want to send a special shout out to my other partner who was a co-defendant, Gerald Green, aka Jetty, as we called him, who unfortunately did not make it out the prison system due to complications with cancer in the stomach. My heart goes out to him and his family, like for sure. Brother never made it out after serving almost all of the sentence he was supposed to serve. He was on his way coming out, and unfortunately, through neglect and some other things, they found out that it was cancer and terminal cancer at that when they was giving him the runarounds, according to what I heard
from witnesses that was at the prison where he was at. And it was just a waste of life, if you ask me, just a waste of life. So, my heart goes out to him. Shout out to my other co-defendant, which is my son's mother. She actually made it out. Haven't seen her since I've been home, but hey, she's out here doing whatever it is she does, and I wish her the best of everything that she can have. Now, in saying that, because I know I'm getting a little personal, but that's what I am. That's what I do. I like to come to the airways to talk about my life because I can. I don't have to worry about saying something that will offend somebody. If I'm talking about myself, that is. Now, if I'm saying something about myself and my experiences and it make you feel a certain type of way because it touch a nerve or something, because you might find yourself in conflict with what I'm saying, then if the shoe fit, put it on. Ain't nothing wrong with putting on a pair of shoes that fit you. You know what I'm saying? And if them shoes are a little tight and maybe they fit a little too good, or maybe something about them shoes that ain't gonna make you feel good, then you take them off. You can take them off. Excuse me. And so I like to open up my life, and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of life. I kind of chronicle my life a lot of the times when I talk about my childhood, things that I can remember as far back as I can remember, and I can go back pretty far for at least a couple of memories from a very young age, ages that my mom told me, may her soul forever rest in peace, said I was too young to remember, but I can remember something all the way back to 1973, and I was born in April of 72. So I had to be at least a year old or somewhere around there, and I had a memory that I spoke to her, and she couldn't believe it. And she was like, there's no way you could believe that. But, I'll get into that some other time. But what I'm here is I like to go to the root of things. So I talk a lot about social constructs, what negative programming is, positive programming, man-made constructs, and most high created constructs, which is a difference. Now, I don't get into all of the sciences with charts and all of that stuff. But what I do, and I don't mean do like caca or none of that type of stuff, but what I do like to do is I find different supports or references that I can extend to the family of some of the information from the psychological field, the science field, about the psychology of what constructs really are and what they mean to us. In the greater sense of whether we're going to succeed or fail a lot in life, because these are the building blocks of our thoughts, of how we perceive things, how we understand things, and how we cope and deal with things. And so I like to get into that there. I'm going to say right now, so let it be known, I am not a professional counselor, scientist, psychology. You can tell by the way I'm talking that I'm definitely not not licensed to be anybody's psychologist or anything like that. I'm just a brother out here in the world that's sharing my experiences. You know what I'm saying? My memories of things that I've encountered and things that I've done out in the world that led me to federal prison. And if my story can help somebody out there in the world, then hey, I'm here for that, because it's the world is filled of a lot of treacherous things in the jailhouses and prison houses and graveyards. They open for business 24/7, and they receiving a lot of business still. And the thought process is, what can we do to lend a voice or lend some aspects of talents and gifts towards helping to at least address and identify, and maybe in some capacities help curb some of these things that we're seeing and some of the things that we're going through. So with that being said, I'm also understanding that over here, we got to have copyright, accesses and stuff like that for certain things, and I can understand why, because what I love doing is I love music. So I'm not gonna really get into anything um, that I feel should get me in any trouble, but I'm definitely gonna have a little something playing in my backdrop. Let's see here. Yeah. Anyway, so my first order of business is where I like to start off, because as I get more familiar with this thing called YouTube here, this platform, it's not that it's my first time being over here, but actually getting into the ebbs and flow of it and how it can be utilized from my vantage point for a positive reason. And my positive reason would be having an open, honest conversation about where we're at mentally. How do we rate ourselves mentally? How do we view ourselves um, absent any kind of thought or critical thought outside of the self in reference to somebody else's opinion or somebody else's characteristic of what they think you should be? How do you see yourself? I'll say this. For me, for a long time, I always see myself as a person that would be in some form of entertainment. You know, I think I've already had discovered early on in life that I love art, the arts, music, dance, poetry, things of that nature, education. It was something about school that was magical to me, and meeting people from outside of my home at the time, my neighborhood, that all of us as children we go through at some stage when we're put into the system to go into these institutions of learning, so that we can perhaps participate in everyday life. But there's a lot of things that wasn't privy to us in the form of information about these institutions of learning and the reality of what was happening to us and what continues to happen to us inside of these institutions of learning, whether it be in the world of academia, whether it be in the world of finance or religion, you name it. there are constructs that come from the mind of men who were born of women, who have come up through their vision or idea or imagination of a world that they see within their minds that they want to bring into fruition in the physical. And so we are living in what is called the United States Corporation of America. It's an idea. It didn't exist at one time, but it's been here for quite some time now. As other places who have been around quadrupled the number of years that the United States Corporation been around. But these systems and of ideals and what they mean to the visionary, the person that has the vision or has the image imprinted on the mind of a world that they want to see. And this is the power of the mind. And I'll say this, and I'll be put on the record. You know, I didn't go to any prestigious colleges or HBCUs, but I've been around a lot of information. You know, maybe not as much as some, but enough for me to know that been living in a damn fantasy for a long time, been heavily sedated, and negative programming and the character that it brings has been leading the way. And therefore, I've come to understand where all the faults, all the restriction, the limitations, and the failures come from. And it's come from a lack of proper information and a direct linkage to unadulterated truth. Truth that can be found in nature. And what I mean by nature, which is the essence or the essence of a thing, the coding of what makes that thing what it is and function the way that it functions. In case in point, you have like when you're dealing with insects or animals, creatures like man, woman as well, because we cannot put ourselves outside of the scope of those things or majestic beings as we are, and make it seem as if we so far up the food chain that everything else is beneath us, and therefore we have some entitlement that other living creatures do not have. And then from my vantage point, that is a definitely no. No. Everything in life has equal access to everything that the creator, whatever that is, or whoever that is, or wherever it comes from. I'm not here to debate it because so many people debate that without having any true, definite, sources that could get you to that particular thing that they're putting out there. Some come close within math, but no definite. There are no definite articles. No this is the one. No. So I dig into a lot of this stuff because while I was in prison, I had an opportunity to really get into some self-study. I was forced. Hell, I'm sitting here with a 34-year sentence. Mind you, I was 19 when I was arrested on those cases. So I'm a young guy still, trapped, and I was trapped. And I looked at my life and I said, man, even though we grew up in the projects, a shout out to Fort Pierce, Florida, St. Lucie County, the 77 Deuce, that's home. Despite, growing up in the projects, there is something within the pedigree, within my family, hard workers, of course, not perfect people, but hell, we people just like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? We go through things, family things and individual things. But it just was something about, the way I imagined myself, the higher quality of life that I envisioned for myself, as a child, used to imagine a lot, places and going places, like being different from the projects, from walking through glass filled fields and stuff, and seeing the corruption and seeing the violence, and also seeing some of the most beautiful people, man, that you ever want to meet right inside of those projects as well. I mean, the roads that grew from the concrete type situation, like in the hoods, in the slums, in the ghettos, when you find people still thriving irregardless of the circumstances, man. Like I know such people, but for my position, and from teachers and friends and family, I was always looked at as someone, according to what they said, you're smart, you're smart. They say I was the shy one. I didn't like to talk about, my sister would say, my older sister. But growing up nonetheless, just naturally inclined to, the arts again, music, inclined to like paintings, you name it, 3D works of art, sculpting. I just felt the natural inclination towards those things, you know what I'm saying? But growing up in the projects, I mean, if you was a little boy and you growing up in the projects and you got the big homies there, the big homies ain't talking about paintings and they're not talking about poetry. They're talking about some other P's, but they're definitely not talking about those things. So for me, just being young and watching and being observant and listening to what was, I guess, us going through our rites of passage in the hood with the big homies, man, like you play this in sports, like you young, you're a boy, you know what I'm saying? Sports is something you get into, girls is something you get into, and every now and again you're going to get into some drugs and stuff because it was the life as well with some of the homies. But the main thing was knowing how to knuckle up and be tough and be macho. That was what was being fed to a young boy's mind, in the same way it was fed to their minds. Like I said, it's a loop. So here we are. I am just a young boy, man, getting the understanding about some stuff that was going to take me way off course. But eventually would bring me right back to the starting point, which I am now, being out of federal prison and being able to come utilize the technology to give my report of the last 52 years of rotation inside of this avatar called the body or the flesh, that we get to control and we get to handle if we're in control of the faculties of our own mind. But if you're a puppet and somebody else is puppeting your mind, then they utilize all of this because their thinking is what pushes us. And that's what I like to get into, the breakdown of what that is so that we can identify it. Because if we don't, I don't know what the next phase or the next chapter, how much detail I can give you of what we thought was bad, like in yesterday's time and today's time, of what we can see of straight criminality at the highest when dealing with certain factors of the system itself. And I'm not going to call out any names. I think to those that know, until I get a little bit more clearance and understanding on how to utilize, because I want to be able to speak the truth. If these platforms are meant to tell the truth, it's not like I'm going to say anything to try to enrage people to go take up arms or fight or whatever. I just want us to be able to talk and think past what we've been given to think through these institutions of learning, like what's in our toolbox to help us resolve issues. How do we handle conflict resolution? And we ain't been doing great. We're getting a bad report card here in the United States Corporation of America. Our attitudes, our involvement, our approaches to one another is, we getting an F. Like we getting an F in our treatment and our tapping into humanity. We're getting a big fat F plus. Growth through spirituality and mentality in a positive way. We getting the F. Securing the bag or going after money and material things, we getting the A plus on that, because that's what we do a lot. But that's the way the programming is. And when I talk about social construct and what negative programming is, those things which is impressed on our minds through the institutions of learning. And we got to understand this. Every thought that you think, have you ever asked yourself, where do they come from? Why would you have any thoughts outside of the environment in which you live in the first place, unless you're a well-traveled person and you've been other places and you've been upon the other cultures and learning different aspects of life in that geographical location, the rules and regulations on how they move. Why else would you need to know anything outside of where you're at? And to the natural mind that's always moving, always projecting itself, because it's spirits, it's frequencies and whatnot. You can't control that. Nobody can control that. We have to learn how to manage it in some form or fashion. I truly believe, but it's working all the time. The mind is always working; it never sleeps. The only thing the mind does is put the physical body at rest so it can charge up, just like a battery, just like your cell phone. But we got to get into a higher understanding of what it is. Because again, when you looked at someone like myself with the speed that I had, my friends still talk. Some of my friends still talk about how fast I was when I was young. And I remember some of my coaches saying something about running track, and I was playing football in high school and but was already out there running them streets at the same time, and young and messing with females already. And trying to build some damn reputation out here in the streets as some thug or something like that. They're like the same one that's most likely to succeed. I was thrown in that conversation one time. Best dressed. What's the other one they have out there? Most popular. I was a very popular person. I'm not gonna say the most popular, but in my little city, I was a popular person in the circles that I ran. You know what I'm saying? According to my understanding. But all of that, all of those things minus execution of how to maintain that and how to sustain it, how to cultivate it, don't mean a damn thing. Because you can be all of those things that people see in you and more. But if you don't know it, and if the mind doesn't know how to frame that and how to approach that within the self community, which is the mind, then if the programming outside of the mind is what's in charge, then you can almost look forward to a wrecked life or damaged life, a life that's always going to give deceptive intelligence as its course to justify different things that instinctively we know is right or wrong. The programming take over, and we don't. I know having conversations like this, sometimes people think that they got to have a scholarship from some special place in the world. You know, you got to went to this school. No, nature, everything, the universal of nature, or what they call nature, the earth right around you. And on other platforms, I speak these things. For instance, I mean, you got Bible scholars, Quran scholars, and Buddhist scholars. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on and on of so many scholars and doctors and all kinds of stuff, which I'm not going to take those people for granted because these are thinking people. But what I want to kind of point to is that you don't have to be those people or know what they know from book study, which I'm going to give you the keys to where they got to go get it from. All of the information that man has amassed and put in books or on papyrus or Sanskrit or whatever, the story has always been about nature and man's conquest of nature. And then how he uses nature to build concoctions and build things like cities and governments and cars and jets and whatever his mind can suggest using the natural resources. The whole story has been about the earth, the nature, the air, the wind, the water, the food. Usage of the natural resources to build shelter, to protect oneself from the elements or dangerous things. You see, all of this book knowledge, all of this going to schools and stuff, this training minus the truth. It has built the world off of other people's knowledge along the way. And we should learn from other people's experiences because that's worthy to be learned from, because you don't want to be a fool. And so if a fool been laid down for you to study a fool's life. So you'll know what a fool look like, and if you want to be that, then you know how to do it. And if you don't, you'll know how not to do it. But we gotta simplify. And my thing is simplifying. What makes scientists that know how to deal with chemicals and stuff like that? They say, well, you got to go to school for these sciences and stuff like this here, and you got to go through these processes and stuff like this. Now, everybody's probably not going to subscribe to that or want to know each and every element, you know, of what that is. But the question becomes, why is that important? It's important because through manipulation of natural things, meaning the tangible things that's coming from something that exists from something that is not even tangible in physicality. I hope this is making sense. And this coming from the little brother that got kicked out of school, never got it. I got a GED when I was in prison. You know what I'm saying? And I know I could have elevated in school very easily if I chose to do so, if I had a desire. And at that time, I lost my desire for school and anything like that there, but reclaimed it through my prison experience. So I'm saying all of that to say this, because I'm not going to be on here too long, but I want to come through. There's some things I'm trying to figure out on how to get some people to this show and what that means. I think I'm going to have to get the link and let people know when I'm going to be coming on, and then do some more reading about this situation over here on YouTube, and maybe ask a couple of family members that's on YouTube actually moving and working and doing things. Shout out to my cousin CJ Gardening with Goo. You can find him right here on YouTube. Shout out to Mama Goo. That's my auntie, my mama's baby sister, Aunt Tiny. Yeah, Gardening with Goo. Look him up, man. He got the green thumb. If you garden with Goo, he garden with you. Glee. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my cousin Byron the twins, Camilo TV, Bubby TV, the Jerks of St. Lucie County. It's the mother freaking male, my cousin Myron. Shout out to him. Shout out to the COTGs, the Circle of the Gods. That's a entity or a group of men along with myself that the Spirit gave me vision on bringing a group of men together so that we can have direct talk, because we need some man talk out here. We need some man talk out here real bad. We need to be talking men. I know a lot of y'all feel like, you know, your voices ain't being heard and y'all got to be on some Kevin Samuels time to do all these different things. Listen, shout out to Kevin Samuels, man. May his soul forever rest in peace. But everybody that want to be on some Kevin Samuels time now dictating to why this, that, and the other, or the sisters I hear that want to dictate. Let me tell you something. Everything that we do in that field, we're agent provocateurs of everything that comes from them kind of conversation. Because nobody want to feel like they're wrong. You know, everybody want to put themselves in a position why I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, or why if I don't fit this kind of mold. Hey, listen, we in trouble. We really in trouble. Now, I'm not knocking no people that have them kind of conversations. They need it. Some people need it, but we got to graduate. We got to graduate and elevate. I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I know a lot of times when I'm on social media, I'm looking at young people that have college education, and I'm here to tell you, if college education, if that's the best that you got to put out here in the atmosphere, something wrong with your school or something wrong with the way you learn. Because if what we're teaching and what we're bringing is not taking us back to nature and the laws that govern nature, and I'm just a messenger. I'm not excluded from what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in the classroom too. I'm just the speaker at this time. I got to go back and double back and re-listen to things that I talk about because I got to get it too. I'm in the trenches with everybody else. I'm deep in the shit. Okay? It's hard out here for me too. I'm struggling. And this is somebody that went to prison. I was 19 when I was arrested. There was no cell phones and no laptops and none of this smart stuff. But technology was around, but it wasn't this. So I'm somebody that didn't even transition with the technology. After doing almost 30 years in prison, but I'm back out. I'm out here and I'm doing this. Because I refuse to believe that a mind that's supposed to be made from on high or from most high or however we got here, if it can envision and if it can see, goddamn it, why would I sit on the sideline and not use whatever it is that I'm recognizing as a talent or a gift? What would suggest to my mind not to do those things other than some negative programming that don't want you to know the value of yourself, the power of yourself, how to get on certain frequencies and stay on positivity as opposed to being drugged into all this chaos that's being controlled by somebody else. I want to thank everybody that's responsible for all of these different applications. From Facebook to YouTube to Instagram. I really appreciate y'all very much for allowing us these opportunities. I hope, because there's a lot of rules and regulations when certain things get talked about. But so far, I've been seeing a lot of different things out here in social media land, and that's bringing forth truth, that's uncovering a lot of the garbage. I mean, we out here. We can't just be on social media looking at booty cheeks and camel toes and how big the rims is on a car, how fast a car can go, you know, how smart it is to get in a high-speed chase with the police and then wreck out and kill people. I mean, this is the dumb shit that we're doing. And I know I can speak on it because that's what I was doing. I'm speaking about me. Remember, I'm speaking about me. So don't get upset when I'm talking about me. Okay? If I'm talking about me and it touched you in some kind of way, just know that you got some work to do. If you felt something, if you felt hurt, or if you felt anything towards what I'm saying about myself, then you got some work to do. And I'm quite sure you got some work to do. But we've been out here living so carefree, but at the same time trying to figure out why things so hard for us. Why? How can it be so easy for other people? Like it look easy for Beyonce. It look easy for Jay-Z. Damn, it look easy for Diddy. And everybody that's around them situation, don't it look easy for Oprah, Tyler Perry, and so many more from other so-called socially constructed ethnicities and colors? because ethnicity and colors like nations, they're not natural. Those are constructs. These come out the minds of men and women. You can't leave nobody out. You know, some people say, "Oh, this is man's world. He built it. He's responsible." Yeah. Man don't build and made a lot of mess. You know what I'm saying? And if you were, and I'm saying to my sisters, if you were the top of the food chain at one time, how you lost your power? And then the reclaiming of your power, what are you really doing with it? Like, honestly, I'm asking. According to a time in history, this is the freest a people have ever been with power. Women got power. They got bags. I mean, they doing things that they used to look at and say, call men dogs and animals for. Now you got you 2 and 3 side niggas. Calling one to eat the coochie, calling one to eat the booty, calling one just so you can look down on him and rub your feet because you want to be one of the boys. So now we there. And to the men that don't lay the fuck down, that don't lay down, you don't even want to step up and take on none of the responsibility of a man. And your thinking is, man, shit, don't nobody care nothing about that though. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no respect for me. Well, have some respect for your damn self. How about that? This is what I tell myself every day so nobody will get misconstrued again. I'm talking about me right now. If the shoe fit, put it on, please. If it don't, just bear with me. Bear with me. Again, I'm not claiming no scholarship. I don't have no degrees from nowhere. Only from life. Only from life. But I'm not going to sit here and say I have not been in a schoolhouse. I've been in schoolhouses before. I've been in front of a lot of information before. But there is no school that I can go to and say I've majored in. I took some college courses in prison, but shit, that's for program purposes. That word programming again. You better get in tune with what programming is all about. Like for real, we need to. You'll never understand. You will never understand what Tupac was talking about if you don't understand what social constructs are. You will never be able to unlock everything that brother was talking about when he was here. And so many other beautiful, brilliant-minded people that was literally telling us, man, hey, without the people, none of this work. Whatever you see in the world that you can think of coming from the highest parts of society, or the highest parts of a society separated from society. If you ever come to discover these things, you would see what the Malcolm X's saw, or the Martin Luther saw, and so many other people from so-called socially constructed colors and cultures have found all over the world. Without the people, none of these things work. There is no capitalism, communism, and socialism. Not in a natural world. No. That was a manipulation of nature, because in nature you do have what we would describe as animals or creatures that have their own form of civilization, meaning their way of life. They move a certain type of way. They move in accordance to the way that they were created. The only one that don't is man and woman. We the only creatures on the planet that don't do what we're supposed to do. Guilty. I'm guilty. I'm most certainly guilty of that. But I'm honest about it. I'm not gonna try to put no shield over me. I'm not gonna take the Quran and put it over me as a shield, or no cross and put it over me as a shield. I'm gonna just be honest with myself. And it doesn't matter how conscious I consider myself, or what some may think. Life every day is a learning opportunity, because every day in life you're gonna learn something. And the hope is, I hope I'm learning enough that as every day I'm blessed to wake up on this side of the veil, meaning the material side of things, because I'm always in the mental and the spiritual. It never stops. But the participation in handling the material, see, I gotta, you gotta come up out of what they call sleep to get back to that. Where your avatar, your hands, your flesh is grabbing things and holding things and you're embracing things. And then the way that your body is made through your nerve endings and sensitivities, when you smell or your senses being worked on, you see, you taste, you touch, and all you hear, you smell. Your mind gets to control these things and gets to soak in the information from these things. Gods and goddesses, not from mythology. The true and living gods and goddesses. Not that you got to be some special person to, boom, make a sun exist, boom, make a moon exist. We got a warped understanding of what these gods, which is another construct. It's a word that man created to try to give some reference to something that he was identifying. And then you know what happens after that, there, when you in top of the class and you find that you can take this stuff and trick people with it too. Well, that's where the world at. If we around here calling ourselves Africans, Americans, Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, Jamaicans, Rastafarians, Christians, Buddhists, if we calling out Democrats, Republicans, if you calling yourself any title and you don't know why you're doing that, then yeah, this is where you need to be. Because all of those things, Ronald, Deborah, Scott, Tyrone, Latrice, okay, and the list goes on and on. Can't you see? All of these titles, all of these different entities as a part of a whole, but been made to appear different, competing with one another, fighting with one another about a title. So proud to be an American. Why not just be proud to be a spiritual and mental being living what we call this human experience? Why create these systems that create commerce, banking systems? Why was that necessary? Why was that necessary? Banking systems, credit, debit. What's the purpose of formating these militaries? If you have good intent and living a good life, I understand. Listen, the ants, they got them. They got military. They got some forces that'll protect when there's an invasion of some unruly animals trying to come in and take over territories where they breed and where they eat at and stuff. Not because of envy and jealousy. Only human beings, I feel. I know they got some stuff out there where animals be jealous and they be this, that, and the other. I get it. But you know what I'm saying, top of the food chain. Us human beings, because we better than everything else. So we got to put extra emphasis on the shit that we do. Yeah. So I'm over here. I'm cutting this here because I'm going to be jotting down some stuff where I can be here on the regular, coming from some other places. I was on another site. I'm starting to get a little tired. I think I've grown to the level I can grow. I need to take what I've been getting over there and what I've been putting out and let that stuff, give myself time to digest some more of that there so I can get all that I can get out of that there. But it's just time to come to another platform and build up. And I got to see what it's going to take to do that. Shout out to my friends that understand these things, my family that understand these things. And it's just a matter of reaching out pretty much and sitting down and taking my time and studying. And that's what it is. But I just wanted to bring in an aspect of what I do and what I talk about. There's so many things I could do that I didn't do. This is some raw footage because I like to set my stuff up too. It's just like a good essay. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not talking about my Spanish brother. I didn't say essay. An essay. Like the ones that you write, they got a head, a body, and a tail. That's how you do an essay. You got to have your introduction, your opening, then you got to have the body, and then you got to have your closing. And that's the way I like to set things up. I like to set things up where to have some order. One of the things I like to do as well is create spaces where we can talk to each other, not at each other. Because I find that a lot of the times when we have platforms or when people bring people in, because we know that sex sells, violence sells, and debate, savagery sells. Hey, it has its place in the world of entertainment. I get it. But there's so many people that think that that's the only way that you can get your numbers up. And what does that say about the people that engage in social media? Not as a content creator or influencer. What is that saying about the people that actually come to these sites to visit, to look and participate? That every time you come to look and participate, some of these people are getting the most likes for buffoonery and clownery, when real issues is barely getting touched. And that ain't no cry, oh, well, get your damn material up, fool. Because you know that's going to come. That comes with the territory. All that is a socially constructed, negative program mind that will take offense to what I just said. That's why you have entertainment. That's why when you go in the world of entertainment, you know the difference between a serious conversation and comedy, even though you can get some serious conversation out of comedy. And that's what I like about those comedians that are very serious but know how to use that cloak and that dagger. Straight up. I'm not here to be in no debates with nobody about what you believe. You believe what you want to believe. But one damn thing you're going to come to understand is it don't matter what none of us believe. If that shit is in conflict with the laws that govern nature, we ain't getting nowhere and we're not going to have a damn thing. And those on top, they know and understand that. They comply with the laws that govern nature. That's why they sit at the top. And as Marcus Garvey said, I do believe it was Brother Marcus Garvey, the people or those who are foremost in science rule the world. They understand the sciences of what is. They study nature. They study the essence and the origin of things. And then they give us a bunch of bullshit to fight over, crumbs from a master's table and positionings in their corporate structure called the United States. And other corporate structures, like I said, from the communist side, the socialist side, and most certainly the capitalist side. But understand, without the people, none of this works. Without the people, none of this works. So I'm telling you, if the people want good in the world, I'm talking to the world's people, then we have to really understand what I'm about to say next. Our relationship with our military. I say our military, not the United States military, not the Russian military, the people's military, because it is our families, along with some of us that's listening, that hold the weapons, that sit in those jets, that sit in those tanks, that's out on the battlefield, that's going to make it happen, so that we can have the privileges that we have within these structures. These are good men and women for the most part. Up under negative programming, hell yeah. And these are the militaries around the world, but these are our family members. These are our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, and so forth and so on. Without the militaries and the people, none of this work. We ain't got to be picketing and going out in the roads, carrying those signs, talking about some justice and all that there. See the game for what it is. If it's about economics, why you still can touch some of these paper dollars out here and your little credit cards, because you see what's happening. It's all out here in social media. I love YouTube. I come to the University of YouTube a lot, for many different reasons. And I travel to the University of Instagram, the University of Facebook, where I'm going to find all of you, scholars, revolutionaries, musicians, poets, political people. Not saying everybody in politics is bad. Everybody in law enforcement isn't bad. Everybody in military isn't bad. Everybody in prison isn't bad. Everybody that don't look like you physically isn't bad, but think about this here. Physically, you do look alike, excuse me. Look at any human being. They got eyes, they got eyebrows. Some of you that have eyebrows, some of you eyebrows so light right there, they look like skin up there. But you know, that's where your eyebrows go, is what I'm saying. They got a nose, they got lips, some got clean faces, some got hair on their faces. They got arms, they got a neck, they got a head, they got back, they got chest, stomach. What the hell you mean we don't look alike? The only difference is pigmentation and hair. Some of it's curly, nappy, some of it's goatee straight. When you look at any human being, identified as human being, we look so much alike when it comes to the components that make the physical body what it is. And then think about the things that make us different. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Because outside of the things that we've been taught to, that we should be entitled to, or when you make this pyramid, this totem pole, and then you use colorism, white, black, brown, yellow, red, man, identifying people, and then you give value to these particular colors on the totem pole. At the highest part of the totem pole, which is more closely to the sky and symbolism, closer to the sun where the light is at, meaning they're getting direct light. They're in heaven. Then on that totem pole, you go down to the next color, to the next this. And listen, he who heavy is the head that wears the crown. He who has the crown dictates the narrative. And if you're living in a world where there's hardly no peace, a lot of chaos, then you know who world this is. Come on, let's not play games. All of my religious people out there, you talking about these dragons. You talking about all these different wickednesses and stuff, and you going to the references to the books as if these books are not alive. That the characters that's in these books that you tout and preach from and raise people's chakras through your yelling and screaming by putting them in a certain type of a trance through frequencies and hertz that they teach you in school to manipulate people for the good or the bad. You're scientists, but some of you are wicked scientists. We call them the enemy, but what I'm saying is those at the top. Most High couldn't be Most High if Most High didn't bring justice. And Most High has an extreme amount of mercy. Most High, mercy. But you know, when there's no mercy, when Most High has no mercy, it's like no other. It's as simple as watching a small animal or a person wander out in the street and get hit by a car. Boom! Out of there, gone, transition, energy gone up out of that flesh that's laying there, can't do nothing else, nothing to animate it. Now some would say that there's no mercy. Ooh, that was brutal. It was a part of life. It happened at that moment. Unfortunately, for that person or that animal, that's life. We're all going to face that day when this flesh can't move because this energy and this intelligence ain't going to be in it. So I want to come to this place and have these conversations. I believe more in the people than to just sit here and say that we don't have the capacity to have intellectual conversations no matter whether we finished school or didn't finish school. Hell, I didn't finish school. But I salute the men and women who sacrificed to go and finish. That don't mean that their life perfect, but we're going to get into all of that. Now, we need to talk about these things, why we feel the way that we feel. And I want to put a cap on this relationship shit, man, because I'm so tired of people talking about why relationships work and why they don't work. They don't work because they're not reflecting nature. I don't have to go for all of the shock value with it. It's not reflecting nature. Everything in nature tells a story. We deal with these relationships. You got to know if you got a dove type of a spirit to yourself, a coding. Everybody don't have a dove coding to themselves. The code that make you who you are. See, if you have monogamous coding inside of yourself, then you will be like the dove. They mate for life. But that's not the only creature. There are more consistent creatures in life that move with a whole unit. Because the math says it's more women than men. And you shouldn't have to turn woman to woman for you to get some equality. Or men putting themselves out of the equation by turning other men. And this is not a condemnation or indictment. Because you should be free to express yourself however you feel, if that's your preference. But what I'm saying in a conversation dealing with nature, we can't play with that. You can't alter those things just because you want to justify something. If you stand on truth, even in your preference, you'll be strong by being honest. Not allowing deceptive intelligence to move you in some direction according to the way the system and those that control the system wants us to think, because they know that that's chaos in the mind. Straight up. So, yeah. And I look forward to coming over here with a few people, a few of my friends. Shout out to Big Chief, Big Energy. Shout out to Queen Black Radio. And I want to say shout out to my brothers, because I will be remiss in my duties if I didn't give a shout out to the COTGs, Alien Priest, the Silverback, One Dub. That's the team. And I want to say to all of the members, those people that touch the circle, man, I want to continue to say I love y'all irregardless. I want to say the spoken thought, man, salute to you, brother, irregardless. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your what you brought to the table. Thank you for opening up your life and giving us of your experience, bro. Always much success, and I wish you well and so much safety over your family, like sincerely. And I want to say to the goddesses, though we don't have that department anymore. I'm not going to get into all that there. To those that know, they know. And one thing about your big brother, I know it all. According to what I need to know. Everything else, it comes to me the way that it comes to me. But I want to say to all of the goddesses that imprinted themselves within the circle, starting with Empress Aura, Goddess Supreme, who's doing well with soft life. Continue to march, soldier. Continue to do what you do, sister. You already know what time it is. I know you're a soldier out here in the field. I want to say shout out to Anita Louise. Thank you so much for imprinting yourself, for having those qualities about yourself, to be womanly, a woman of character. Even though that can be misunderstood and misconstrued sometimes, you stick with it. But whatever you say is right. I love that you adopted that. I want to say to Cosmic Oracle, thank you for having the opportunity to come over to try your hand. One thing about the circle, anybody that's in a position got opportunity to make it do what it needs to do. But you have to get there sometime. And this is just another way of being in the classroom. But I want to say to Cosmic Oracle, thank you for your time and your service, and doing the best that you could do at the time. Okay, with the Circle of the Goddesses. I want to thank also. I want to thank Adeline Monroe, goddess, still a goddess. That's my little sister. That's my little heart right there. She always gonna be that baby. Seeker, Sunshine, Queen of Wands, Ramifications, which we didn't get a chance to really see how that was gonna roll out, but continue success, sister, in what you do. Because Rami Ram is that Rami Ram. Who am I forgetting? The Princess Warrior, Elizabeth McClung, salute. Always love. I don't think I missed anybody else. And I'll say this, shout out to the amazing foundation, our friend, Sister Soldier, Free Mind, Rock On, that Cali Love, Sure Rock. I'm going to try to name a few people off the top of my head. Sonia Dominique, Short Stroke. Want to send a special shout out to Conte, Miss Shitball. I want to send a special shout out to Lux, a special shout out to D Karma. I want to send a special shout out to man, it's so many people. The Neverminder is Jones. Fuck nigga free. I wish a nigga would. All of these beautiful people that come to the platform. Just trying to name that melanated goddess. Oh man, come on. I'm gonna get her name in a second. It's like I said, it's so many people that come and show love to the circle of the gods. And I just want to just say to everybody out there, because I know it's so many more names. If I didn't call your name in that set, trust I'll be calling, because I know y'all always come out and show love. And I'm hoping to get y'all over here on YouTube as well, so you can subscribe, because we've been a turn up. I know that's where I'm at with it. I'm about 8 months now left on probation. I'll be off this federal probation where I can get on with the rest of my life. It's been a long journey from 1991. And this is the year right here, most high willing. I'll be done finally with the feds. And I'm going to be talking about these things, talking about what it feels like, man, from the time you're 19 to you're 50 freaking 3 years old, man. And you still dealing with shit that you done 30-something years, damn near 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how social constructing plays into this stuff. I don't want us to continue to be agent provocateurs in our own destruction. Come on, man. Like, we can do better. And we shall. So I don't want to go too much more. I just wanted to give some special acknowledgments to a lot of people that have been around, that have shown love. My little sister TT, shout out to her. Mo Better, shout out to him. Oh man, there's so many people. I'm trying to in my mind, I'm trying to envision so I can call out a few names because that's just what I do. I want to move different because I can. I want to present myself different because I can. I don't want to be the same image or the same person that's stuck on silliness and stupidness. I don't want to use these platforms to argue and debate. I want to use the platforms to have controversial conversations. Yeah, because we're not going to agree on everything all the time. We give perceptions of facts, the same facts that we have perceptions of. And I'm here to be a good listener. I want to know your story. I want to see what I can learn from your story. See the world through your eyes. And I'm willing to do the same with my life. I am the icon 6. My mother named me Ronald. And I'm going to tell you a little something about that name Ronald. When I was a child and I would get teased, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, that Ronald McDonald stuff. And as a child, you getting teased and you don't know how to really take that. I didn't know how to take all that stuff. And I'll feel ashamed. I just like that name. That's a constructed name. It's a title, But I just want to say this here because there is a positive aspect of programming. It ain't all negative. So don't think that I'm here just to be talking about negative stuff. No, I want to talk about the positive thing because that's what we're trying to get to. So we can overcome anxiety and depression and all these different things that weigh on us that make us even get to the point to where the illness in the mind is so bad that we'll take our own life. And I want to tell my brothers and sisters, man, we need you here. I know it don't seem like some people want you here or you don't see how you can, why you got to be here and you don't like what it is, but we love you. We know that it's pain somewhere inside of them. And we want to be here for you as well. But I just wanted to come in and drop these few things on my family members. And I want to say to my siblings, my older sister Tina, my baby sister Chandra, my baby brother Will, and their significant others. I love y'all. I love the families that we've been blessed to have. Shout out to my son that's doing time. My daughter always gonna be irregardless. I don't give a damn. Shay, I love you, baby. I know I ain't seen you yet, but it's God willing, it's coming. is coming. And all my nieces and nephews, great nephews and nieces, cousins and family members and friends, the few friends that real friends that I do have, don't have many. But we're in the building process. New people to come. New people to come. And I want to say to all the people that I have love for and respect for, shout out to my wife, Alicia. Thank you for the support all the time. You know, and I want to say that out in the open because she definitely has been very supportive of me. And it's time that I give her due out in the open, irregardless of what that is in the background. You're a classy lady. And I know I've been an asshole through a lot of different things. Yes, I have. I got vision. I got some things I want to do. I'm not sure how you will fit into the things that I'm prepared to do because of certain things we've already discussed. But however it may go, I know that you got great tendencies of a supportive person. Not perfect, because none of us are. You got your own flaws and stuff like that. But I want to verbally say that, you know, that irregardless of where life may take us and move us or how that may be, I salute you. I love you. And I always want you to be safe. Okay? That's the real. And that goes for all of any sister that I've been with, within the mental and spiritual aspect of what that is. I wish people well. I really do. I want each and every one to reach levels wherever they desire takes them. Reach those levels of happiness with whoever you are with. We all got something to do. And we have to get to doing it. But we got to learn along the way. So I'm hoping that I can bring some people over here, do some networking over here as well, and learn more about this thing called YouTube. I had a ball over here today. I'm definitely going to send this out to a few people. Keeping my skills up, y'all. Y'all see that? I'm going to send a shout out to Florida as well. I got them Gators on the wall because I don't have I wish I had a FSU up here. Them Seminoles, you know, I love them Seminoles as well. But shout out to the U, because originally that's my squad. Let my cousin talk me out of the University of Miami being my number one squad, because he liked the Miami. He was living in Homestead, and we was making a bet. And so I took the Seminoles. In that particular game, the Seminoles whooped up on the Canes, and I was with the Seminoles ever since. But deep in my heart, you know, I rep that U to the fullest. Love the University of Miami. But all teams in Florida and nationwide, all of the young men and the young women involved in athletics, shout out to you all. And I definitely want to give a big shout out to our men and women in the military. That is so vital. Our men and women in the military. Salute to all of you. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for your time. And to the families of those who have lost family members in the military, you know, we thank you all for your sacrifices as well. I have family members that's in the military, going back to my granddad and probably further back from there, my little brother, uncles. You know, I just want to just thank y'all for y'all services and sacrifices, the greatest of sacrifices. That's Christ-like. And I'm saying it. And I hope nobody from religion want to come in and how do you say that's Christ-like? Because they make the ultimate sacrifice. You sprain your ankle on a basketball court and the whole world coming to in. But the men and women in uniform that go out in the field, man, they got bullets and cannons and missiles and shit flying past their head, they're trying to make it home to their family. Don't never equate a sprained ankle from playing basketball or football to that, though we respect our men and women in the field of entertainment and sports. But special dedication to our men and women in the uniform. I'm just saying, that's just my take on it. I got to show love where love need to be shown, and I show love to everybody. I got a universal mentality. I'm not stuck on these constructs. I don't care nothing about your ethnicity. I don't care nothing about what your so-called color scheme is. All I'm interested in is, are you one of the despised and the rejected? Has life and those that dictate to us, have they cut you out and made you a part of the chaos down in the valley with the rest of us? Because if you down in the valley like the rest of us, then you perhaps could be somebody that could be worked with to try to get us up out of this damn valley so we can get on up this mountain and get to the truth where we can be at peace and have our form of authority to do what we need to do right here on this earth as well. All right, y'all. I'm going to get ready to slide up out this mofo. I had a ball. Again, let me finish here if I don't forget. Ronald. I ain't forgot. My mama named me Ronald. She told me why she named me Ronald. I'm not going to discuss that. But my mama also, when I was in federal prison, she went and got this little bookmark for me. And it said Ronald. And the definition, it's a European name. Okay? Those European, and the root of where Ronald come from, you can find it in scripture as well. But the definition of the word means mighty counselor, which I thought was kind of unique and strange because I've always been a counselor. You know, I've always been the type of person that can talk to people about their issues and stuff, even though I couldn't get a grip on my own. And ain't that crazy? People that can help other people but don't seem to be able to help themselves. Well, I was one of them people. I've always been able to talk about certain things going on in people's lives, whether it was my brothers or my sisters or friends or whatever. And then going up in prison and getting in an organization where being studious was what you had to do, and you had to learn things about the self and about people and about organization, about discipline, about military, about psychology, you know, and I got into that. Well, Ronald means mighty counselor. Okay. That's what I do. And that's just not by virtue of what they did in a title, but having the mind and the energy to recognize those that give counseling. And you got to know what kind of counsel you're getting, because it could be negative or positive. But now I am a proponent of positive counseling. I've done all the wicked counseling that I'm going to do in life when I was young, and that's it for me. If I open my mouth to talk to you, I'm speaking strength. I'm speaking truth. I'm being as honest as I know how to be for positivity. If it ain't on that, I ain't on that. I'm not on it. Don't want it. Don't have to be a part of no hatefulness. Don't have to be a part of no envy and jealousy. I don't want it. Been there, done that. I know the results of that, and many of us do. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, let me go ahead and close this thing up. I got 3 things to say to you before I slide up out of here. Keep your head on a swivel. Shit going down out here. Trust me, nobody's safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Protect yourself at all times, because you got a right to do that. Whether you're a confrontational person or not, you got a right to defend yourself. Even in the process, if you lose your life, know that you did what you were supposed to do to kind of save your life as well. Because you ain't bothering nobody, so you shouldn't have no, hey, if you're not bothering nobody, you're not putting no pressure on nobody, ain't nobody got no business fucking with you. Period. Stand up for yourself. And if you don't like to fight, and if you can get to the situation, utilize your taxpayer money. Get your team of people to come deal with that shit. But keep your head on a swivel, protect yourself at all times, and be the leader of your self-community, which is your mind. Because if you don't use your mind, somebody else will. And that's the world that we're looking at. Negative programming. Somebody else is using the people's mind to do their dirty work by keeping confusion going and a system uplifted, because it keeps us separated from each other on the basis of titles. I'm just saying. It's your favorite icon, King 6, Icon 6, Ronald, the great counselor. Okay, I got to roll up out of here, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Peace. Icon out. head.